Good day, creative friends. Welcome back to my studio. This is part 2 of the simple and elegant floral paintings series. Part 2. Did I say that? It's the second one in the series. There's only 3. I make it sound as if it's a big thing. It's not. We are painting lilacs today. And the process is quite simple, actually. The flower in itself is just a watercolor paint that I stipple in the shape of a cone. Or, is this a cone? Yeah, it is. Some people might see a triangle, I guess. But it reminds me of a pine cone. And it's a very diluted rose of ultramarine, meaning I added a lot of water to it. So that is kind of like the base coat. And I made sure that I have plenty of white space in between the small blobs of color. I always feel like I should be using more refined words, but I don't because I don't know the right words. I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. The leaves of a lilacs, can you say singular lilac, or do you have to say it plural? The leaves of that flower, I was studying them because I have one growing right outside of my studio window. I'm very fortunate. And they're quite large and they're super sturdy. And I decided to interpret them with a space in between the two sides. So you've got that white line running through it. And I like the look of it. I did that so that it would sort of match last week's vibe. I want the series to be more or less cohesive. So it's a mix of green gold and Van Dyke green. And I will list all the supplies as usual in the description as well as in a pinned comment. The branch is done with a small number 2 round brush, I believe, yes, and sepia. And basically the whole flower is done. The rest will be just adding some details over that. So what I did is I kept the first layer of the flower quite light so that I could add more on top and provide the contrast that I wanted. I'm mixing pale gold with rose of ultramarine so that I can paint open buds in the flower. If you look closely at lilacs, they're comprised of 4 petal, little 4 petal flowers, and they're quite round, and they're very easy to paint. But I wanted to remain as loose as possible, so I have a lot of water or a lot of liquid on my paintbrush, and that helps the process. There's this thing with watercolor, if you have too much water, it's on your brush, it's hard to control, but sometimes it can play in your favor. If I wanted clean, crisp edges, I would have gotten rid of a lot of liquid on my brush, but because I wanted this paint to be as loose as possible, I did want to have these 4 petal flowers as wonky as I could get away with, if that makes sense. And so that's why I carried quite a lot of liquid on my brush. And of course now you cannot see the gold because it's still wet, but once it's dry you'll be able to see the reflection, and it's just a nice addition to the painting, and it goes with last week's flower. I did add gold to one of the flowers. A bit of pencil sharpening ASMR here. This is a Mitsubishi pencil sharpener and I love it. It just it's a dream to use. I am using this color pencil to outline the 4 petal flowers that I painted, just like last week when I used it to go around the flowers. Again, this is doodling or outlining, whatever you want to call it, but very scribbly, not staying inside the lines, done very quickly. So here are the 2 paintings I've done so far. Again, I think these would make sweet little gifts if you offer them in a frame, or you can turn them into special greeting cards. Thank you all so very much for watching. Of course, a special thank you to my awesome patrons for supporting my art over at Patreon. My patrons get to enjoy exclusive videos for as little as $5 a month. So if you're curious about that, the link is in the description and in the top right corner of this video. I hope you'll join me again next week for the last flower of this series. In the meantime, please stay safe, healthy, and creative.